My name is Turner Nashe. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I moved to Nashville in '07. This is right around the time of the financial crisis. So I owned a mortgage company that spanned 7 states and everything went belly up. So I was like, man, all right, if I've done it once, I could do it again. Let me go to this place they call the EC. You have to go up the elevator and the doors open. And I was like, man, this place is like vacant. Like the lights are out. There's nobody at the reception desk. And then a guy comes walking out. And he goes, hey, you here to meet? And I said, yeah. He goes, let's go in this conference room here. So never introduced himself. I didn't introduce myself. We just got straight to work. So he gives me some great tips to use. And then we walk back out into the main room of the EC. And I said, man, I'm having problems with coming up with a pricing model that will help me, be agile in front of the customer base that I'm trying to shoot for. So he points to some gentleman in the room. He says, hey, build him a pivot table. And this guy comes over, he asks me what I do. He builds me a pivot table in like 30 minutes. Can I tell you, I use that pivot table for like the next year on pricing with customers. But more importantly, within about 3 or 4 months of really sort of being on the edge of depression because the market crashed, I lost my business, I lost my houses. I ended up getting my first contract for $250,000, which was based on the pitch deck that he helped me with. Now, this is just some guy that walked out the back room. I called him Michael. And, people would be like, well, who did you work with? And I'd be like, Michael. And they'd be like, Michael Burcham? Michael Burcham? And I'm like, yeah, guy, I think that's his last name, right? So, although he is a legend in this town, to me in those moments, he was Michael. He wasn't drinking his own Kool-Aid. He didn't have the big head. He was really at the table with me working to make my presentation the best that it could be. You could easily run through here and see young entrepreneurs that you now read about in the Business Journal every day. So I'm thankful to have had that time with Michael. He's still a great friend to this day. And I think to be a legend, you have to be one-on-one with a lot of people. Michael has a way of when you're with him, you're the only thing that he's working on at that moment. And I think that builds a relationship between the two parties. I can honestly say that he's sort of been a mentor and a model for a lot of us to figure out how once we've made it and we've been successful, how we give that back at scale. And I would say that's something that I continue to watch him do. I've never heard of anybody that said he turned his back on me, or he wouldn't help me, or he wouldn't make the introduction, or he wouldn't coach me. And the product and the presentation sometimes don't necessarily match. And I think that's when you'll get his real opinion. There seems to be no wasted movement. Everything is to help others, and that is something that in this instant sort of society that we have, we're really missing those connections. I really think that his impact within the ecosystem scales itself because there are certain fundamental principles of business that you have to follow, and I think that's part of the reason he can scale so easily, because he has the fundamentals. He understands the entire process from ideation to exit. And that's a blessing to be able to have that. It sort of was like a wake-up moment, like, oh, that's what he was doing back then. He could see the end of it while I was just at the beginning.